Welcome to Pedal Down 4x4, and on this week's episode, we're putting fiberglass on the 4Runner. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Pedal Down 4x4. You might notice I'm in the same clothes as last week's episode because it is the same day. I didn't want that episode to get too long, but we do have some fiberglass flares for the 4Runner. We're going to put those on, and let me show you guys what the flares look like. Okay, so these are the fiberglass fender flares for the 3rd gen 4Runner. They are hella wide. So we are going to start putting some flares or some fiberglass fenders on the 3rd gen. And the reason why we're not doing the suspension stuff first is because I still am waiting for my wheel bearings. I don't want to do the spindle episode and building the spindle and not have the wheel bearings because then it's going to be weird. So instead, because we have these parts already here, we're going to throw those fenders on the 4Runner. Obviously, the passenger side is going to have to get modified heavily because of the snorkel. But we are going to get the driver's side on and see what she looks like when she's all girthy. She's going to look weird right now, but hopefully it'll look pretty cool. Okay, so first steps first on our fender swap is we need to pull these fenders off. So there's a few bolts in the 4Runner. You're gonna have to, when you take your fender off of your 4Runner, the first few bolts are actually on the driver's side or inside the engine bay. So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3 bolts here. You're gonna have one bolt up here. You have to open the door to access that bolt, and then there's another bolt. There's usually two bolts down here, but mine's all rusted out. And there's a few bolts in the fender itself, but we got to take off this light. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, let's pull this corner light off. To get this corner light off, there's usually a bracket, but mine's f***ed up, as the kids would say. And there's actually a few bolts down here. Oh, you know what I think I have to do too? I just realized I have to pull the grill and the headlights off. This is going to be a little bit more involved. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we got the front fender off. You might be able to tell there's a little bit of dirt on here. So yeah, I should clean this up, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is start fitting on that new fender. So I'm actually not sure how much wider this is going to be, just because this flare is really large on my 4Runner already. But I guess we can get a straight on view and we'll see how this looks. I also need to drill the holes to bolt this guy on the fiberglass fender. And as well as, because this thing is so rusty, the bolt snapped off in that hole right there. So self tappers for the win, boys. We're gonna just self tapper this guy on the bottom section here. But yeah, so far it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing that new fender on. Okay, with this fender being fiberglass, I've also heard a few complaints that these fenders aren't 100% accurate. So I guess we shall find out how accurate these fenders actually are. And this bumper makes it a real pain in the ass to fit it. So let's see how we can make this work. It actually looks like it's gonna fit not too bad. Let's close the hood and let's see what she looks like with the hood. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna be sick. So let me show you guys what this fender is looking like. So it's got a really, really big bulge to it. That's what she said. But so I'm gonna do a little bit of fiddling around to fit this fender. The gap right here is pretty big, so hopefully we can try and adjust that gap so where it fits perfect. But I don't expect this fender to fit 100% perfect just because it is fiberglass. Molds can degrade over time. But yeah, I love it. It looks super sick. It's super wide. Let me get a view from right here. Yeah, I think that's gonna be awesome. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get into fitting this light, I guess, and then that way we can move it so the light fits perfect. Okay, so let's take a look at this fender. We're gonna put this light back into its home. Yeah, so I might sand this down, grind this guy down up here. But that's right where I want this fender to sit at. Yeah. And then I think that's going to be good right there. Okay. Oh, I am happy with that panel gap. That's great. So let's tighten up that guy. Also, just remember when you're doing this, it is fiberglass, so don't go ape shit on tightening up the bolts. You don't have to tighten it up to infinity. So there's the panel gap. So that looks pretty good to me. It's pretty even all the way down. So now we're gonna move on to those other top bolts. Or actually, we might. Well, here's the thing with this problem is I don't have anything to bolt it to, so I'm gonna have to self-tapper it or put in a nut cert in there. But let's get those top guys on. So let's get these guys bolted on and let's check the fitment of everything. Bolt this guy on, bolt this guy on, and we're gonna bolt this guy on. And then when you do this, you do have to make sure to constantly check your clearance for your hood and other things as well. Or a Milwaukee battery charger that actually worked, because all my chargers for some reason died. If anybody knows why Milwaukee battery chargers keep dying, hit me up. Because I've had like 5 fail in the past 3 months. Not sure what the deal is with that. Okay, so that's all clearing. That's all good. Let's check the hood fitment. Let's see what the hood looks like when it's closed. Is it hitting anything? Nope, that looks pretty clear to me. Yeah, that's pretty much dialed in all the way down there. So let's get to fitting up this light. Yeah, so that lines up just fine. It's just the bottom of this light. So what I think I can actually do is Dremel the plastic on this light. Okay, yeah, that's fitting way better. Yeah, so basically, I've been hearing a lot of things about the McNeil kit not fitting too well with the lights and whatever, and it seems to be true. Does not like to fit very well, so I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep dremeling, getting stuff to fit, modifying this kit, and then once it fits, I'll show you guys the final result. Okay, so got the fender on right now. The light does fit a little better. It's still a little tight, so I will have to grind it down a little bit more. You'll notice a zip tie down here, and that's because those two holes rusted out, or these two holes rusted out, so I had to drill them out, and then I'm gonna get some nutserts, but I don't have the size required. I don't have the size required right now, so I'm gonna have to get some new nutserts. This one I got the bolt in right there, so that's good, and this fender is actually fitting pretty well, so the gap is pretty even all the way down. It does get a little bit tighter up here, but no problems with opening and closing the door. That is all good. So that is the side fender down, and also I'm gonna take the spacers off. I don't like it. I'm gonna have to just figure out maybe a new radiator to keep this thing cold, or some new thermal fans, maybe some better thermal fans. But so far, I definitely like the look. It's really wide, and hopefully it fits perfect with my tires and whatnot when it sticks out. So we're now onto the side that I've been dreading the most, onto the passenger side with the snorkel. So we got to pull off the bolts out, pull the snorkel off, unbolt it, take that thing out, then we can take the fender off, and then we can start fitting up fender, which I'm hoping, because it sticks out so far, I'm hoping it's actually going to cover this snorkel up, but yeah, we'll see. Alright, so the old fender's off. I was fitting up the new fiberglass fender. I pre-drilled the holes because they were all good. I need to grind this guy down or cut this off or something because of the snorkel. I bent this piece of metal. So fender's not fitting on that one. And also, would have seen that video, that bolt snapped straight clean off. So that's lovely. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get into this. I do have to go to work in a little bit, so I'm gonna try and get that bolt out, and I'll try to fit the fender. And then tomorrow, when I get off of my first job, then we'll try and cut the hole for the snorkel. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna get back into it. All right, you guys. So it is a few days from the last time you see me on this same video. It's been it's been a few days actually. So I got home yesterday. I did some work on the 4Runner just because I really wanted to get stuff done on the 4Runner. I do have some bigger fabrication projects coming up pretty soon on Wyatt's truck. That's the white Tacoma. So we have some fabrication stuff coming up next week, and I really wanted to try and get as much stuff as I could get done this week on the 4Runner. So turned the camera off, and I just completely started going ham. Let me show you what I did and what we're gonna do now. Okay, so fender is on. I put the corner light on. It fits okay. There is definitely a difference between that side and this side. This side did not fit as well as the other side, and so I had to do a few things. Don't mind this snorkel for now. I'm gonna talk about this in a minute. I did have to shave this down a little bit, so I'm gonna have to put 4 fiberglass behind here to shave it more down to make it match. I did get the body line, the body gap, like really good on this, so I'm happy with this. I do have to adjust this a little bit, the hood, but this hood from when I made it, it sat kind of funky, so I need to adjust the hood. I don't think that's the fiberglass's fault, but it also sits a little lower on this side, so I think I can actually adjust this side to sit a little bit lower, just so it matches as best as I possibly can. Now, talking about the snorkel, As you can see, it's been mutilated. I mutilated this fender, basically cut a big hole, and it does fit in the guard. However, I have a big issue, and that you'll notice up in here, there's a coupler now. So the reason why there is now a coupler between there, it's not one piece, is because of this angle over here and the fender itself and everything. I could not get to slide in and hook in without cutting it into two pieces. So unfortunately it's now two pieces. I have to get clamps to clamp it. It should still be okay. And I plan on putting some sort of fender guard in there to try and prevent it from getting any water on it, but I think it'll be just fine. As for the fiberglass hole, it's actually cut out all the way through here. This tape is just to kind of hold this piece on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this fiberglass fender back off, pull the snorkel back off, and I'm going to start fiberglassing right here, as well as right here. And then once I get this to a smooth contour, I can start like finishing this up so it sits good. I'm going to make a bracket inside of here. I'm going to make a bracket inside of here, probably off of this guy, to support the snorkel up there. And then I'll make some sort of cover inside of here. In other news, the paint is now dry. It looks okay. It's a lot better than what it was. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull this snorkel out. I'm going to pull the fiberglass fender off. I'm going to get a table set. I also just picked up a bunch of piping that we're going to need for Wyatt's Tacoma. 21-foot sticks, 6 sticks. But yeah, this project is coming along. I did get my wheel bearings for the spindles, so we can also do that on the next episode and start building up the spindles and getting it ready to install on the 4Runner. But first things first, the most annoying thing is fiberglass. I love fiberglass, but I hate fiberglass at the same time. I like fiberglass because when you do things like this and you chop it up and do stuff like that, you can fix it easy. It's easy to fix, it's easy to break. That's the whole thing with fiberglass. Another thing is you get itchy when you use it. So let me set up a table probably over here somewhere, and then I can go ahead and put that fender on and we can start fiberglassing that stuff in, and we can really start working this thing out. But yep, I definitely like the way it's coming out, the way it's looking. I'm not sure if you've ever seen a wide body 4Runner with a snorkel, so this is your first time seeing it. I almost kind of want to put louver vents right here because I think it would look kind of cool, but I don't know. I think this is going to look great. And also, if I put louver vents right here, it's going to just spray water and shit all over the place, so I'm not down for that. But so far the front end is looking amazing. I do like it. So yeah, let's get this fender off. Alright, so I got the fender off of the 4Runner. Now this is what the snorkel tube looks like inside the truck. You can see that it got cut right here. I'm going to use a clamp, and I'm probably going to use T-bolt clamps to make it really grab onto that. But fender's off, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scuff up this surface really good, and I want to put fiberglass wherever the blue tape is, as well as fill this area right here with fiberglass. And then after I'm done with this, I'm going to go from the other side and V-notch it, and then lay more fiberglass down on the outside. And then that way it's going to give me a really strong bond. What I want to do is basically just have the hole right here. That's where I want the hole for the tube, and then I have the little grommet seal to seal this up. So I want to make this really pretty. So I'm going to start mixing up some fiberglass resin. I'm going to sand this down first, and then we're going to start laying down some fiberglass. You have two different types. This is going to be cloth, and then you have your fiberglass mat. Fiberglass cloth is not a lot stronger, but it is stronger than the actual fiberglass mat itself. So what I want to do is I'm going to fill this area up with the mat. It's easier to get it into smaller places. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically just gonna cut out a couple different little pieces here. And if you are messing around with fiberglass, even I should have been wearing like a mask and like gloves when I was first doing this, but I didn't, and that is just because I was lazy. But stay safe. Make sure you use some PPE, as they would say. So that's kind of like where I want it to be. Gonna just trim off. We're just basically trimming off this fiberglass mat to where we want it to be at. So I'm going to use a mat first, and then after that, I'm going to use the cloth. But I'm not even sure if this mat is going to stick very well with the resin, because this resin is pretty old. So I'm going to use a mat for right here. I'm going to use this other small piece of mat down there. This is just to fill the gap. And then we're going to use the actual cloth because it is stronger. There is a specific like amount you need. I don't know. I just piss out a bunch of hardener in there. And it's going to get really hot really quickly. So what we need to do is we need to mix this guy up. Which I'm completely unprepared for this project right now. Where are my keys? If that's enough hardener. Or it might be too much. I don't know. I never really measured. I just keep pouring it out. Okay, so that's pretty finely mixed. Not really. I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to wet this whole thing. Might have actually put too much hardener in here because this resin is getting a little crispy already, if you know what I mean. So where is that piece? We're gonna lay this piece down right here, just like that. Make sure it's in there. And this is kind of just like our base layer. We still have to put a lot more. Sure you get a lot of brushes when you first do this, because I obviously do not have enough brushes. This is the only brush I have. In fact, this is the brush I use to paint the frame. So yeah, so that's pretty covered. That's pretty much well in there. Make sure that's sticking. Okay. Now that that's done, we're going to put this little piece on right here. And this is just going to give us our base. That's still soft. So now what I'm going to do, which one again I am not prepared for whatsoever or at all. I'm going to cut out a piece here that I think is big enough. So that's going to be our first layer done on this fiberglass. Now in this top corner I also need to lay a little bit more fiberglass, and that's just because I need to dremel that down a little bit more. So I'm going to build this backing up right here, and then after this I'm going to go run to Home Depot, pick up some new resin and some paint brushes so I can complete this. But yeah, there we go. That's nice and covered. All right, so we got the cloth or the mat. Oh, sorry, the zoom is weird. So we have the mat down right there, and then we have the cloth over this one side. I'm gonna let this cure for a little bit. Oh, and I also made this side because I have to sand down that other side a little bit more for clearance. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cure for a little while. I'm going to go head to Home Depot and go pick up some more brushes because my brush is shot. And then I need to go pick up more resin because I'm not even sure if this resin is going to harden. It's been sitting there for a while, but it does seem like it's starting to get a little hard already. So yeah, I have to charge the camera. I'll be right back. I'm going to go head to Home Depot. And in the meantime, I'm going to let this cure. Okay, what's going on, you guys? So I am back from Home Depot. I've been back. I have laid down like 3 more layers on here. I let it dry in the sun. It's really hot in Hawaii, so this stuff will cure in like 30 minutes. It's not even tacky already. Um, so that fiberglass piece is on. I have actually I've laid down multiple layers in a crisscross. Oh, sorry. I've laid down multiple layers in a kind of a crisscross pattern, and it's basically hard. It's not even tacky already. It did rain a little bit, so it got a little water on there, but it already cured before that water gone on. As well as this part, I built this piece up. I'm probably gonna put another little layer on there so I can sand this outer side down. Um, so let's flip her over now. All right, so that's most of it off. This piece did sink down a little bit lower on this top edge part, which is fine. So what I'm gonna do now is there is a little bit of air pockets. I'm gonna Dremel this guy out. So I'm gonna actually Dremel an edge into here, Dremel an edge into here, Dremel a V into here, and then we're gonna lay fiberglass on the top of this part. Not a whole big chunk, but just a small piece where we can get a little bit more gription, if I must say, or whatever. We're gonna add a little bit of fiberglass. All right, so you can kind of see what I was talking about here. You can see where this line is. That's where it would crack. So I'm gonna Dremel this out a little bit more, just on this one line, and then this part I Dremeled it out, and then we're gonna fill this in with probably some fiberglass mat, maybe some cloth for extra strength, maybe cloth actually for the strength purposes. Or no, we'll do matte because the cloth won't be able to get into there. So we'll do the matte to get into here, and then after that we're gonna have to just sand it and make it to where the body line is good, and then all these edges will clean up, and then we have the rubber surround part. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. I will come back to you guys with the finished product. We still got to test fit it and see if we have to add more fiberglass, but this is a main chunk of it done as of this moment. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut this up, put more fiberglass, put it back in the sun, let it cure, and then we should be good. Okay, you guys, so it's the next day. And since I last seen you guys, this is all dried. I did throw on a little bit of body work here, you could probably tell. I put more resin down, sanded it down, redid this body line. I'm pretty happy with it as of right now. I probably will do a little bit more. I kind of want to reinforce here and here a little bit more with more fiberglass, but I can do that off camera. You're gonna see the snorkel is in. I did have to grind down this section as well as this section. This is just a mock-up piece of this rubber grommet thing, weather seal, weather stripping. So the snorkel does fit. It fits really well. It is sealing up against this, and it's looking good so far. So that's pretty much going to be it on the front fenders. Next video, we're going to be going into the building spindles. So I'll show you guys how to build some spindles. All right, you guys, so that's pretty much done on the front end of the 4Runner with all the fiberglass. Like I just said, I still will be doing a little bit more work to the fiberglass, but that's just more laying fiberglass underneath here. So I'm going to make this whole area just a little bit stronger because of the snorkel is here. And it is putting pressure, not a lot of pressure, but it is putting a little bit of pressure on this fiberglass body. And I don't want it to crack. I did grind this out to a bit of a point where now it clears a lot easier and it's not putting as much pressure. But that is pretty much it for this week's episode of Pedal Down 4x4 on the long travel build on the 4Runner. Front end fiberglass is basically done. We still need to do the hood, but that will be on a later date. Next week's episode, we're gonna get moving into the spindles and building up the spindles. We're gonna be doing some gusseting as well as pushing in new wheel bearings. So until next time, and as always, thanks for watching.